Turning now to the sound and the fury of Russian rockets echoing across Ukraine today. Smoke hanging in the Kyiv air, evidence of a massive missile barrage that triggered sirens throughout the country. Ukraine says the aerial assault mixed cruise missiles and drones pointed at energy infrastructure, nearly 70 projectiles in the sky. Fresh signs Ukraine's defenses held an intercept of a Russian missile caught on camera there. The military claims it shot down the bulk of the Russian barrage. And yet, what eluded Ukraine's air defenses shattered ordinary life again, mangling cars, as you see, and pulverizing buildings. Let's get straight to Kyiv and CNN's Ben Wiedemann. And Ben, Moscow clearly wants to keep all of Ukraine in the dark, especially during this holiday season.
My audio.
All right, it looks like, Ben, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
Looks like we lost Ben there. We'll try to get him back. Let's talk more about this and some critical perspective from our longtime CNN Moscow bureau chief, Jill Dougherty, as we try to get Ben Wiedemann back up to talk about what's happening there on the ground. Tell us more about the significance of this huge barrage of missiles that have been fired into the Ukraine sky, but of course, much of them were thwarted. How significant is this latest barrage?
You know, unfortunately, Amra, this is happening on a regular basis now. And I've been watching Ben's excellent reporting. And, you know, I was thinking back to the many times that I've been to Kiev and to other cities in Ukraine. But Kiev is a really beautiful city. And it's a beautiful city, especially this time of year. So the new year in that entire area, you know, Russia, Ukraine, all parts of the former Soviet Union, New Year was a big, big celebration. It was huge. And not to mention, of course, Christmas. So I think in addition to the absolute destruction that the Russian missiles are trying to carry out, you also have this psychological effect of bringing as much devastation to Ukrainians at this particular point in the calendar. And then also look at the question of, you know, peace. The Russians right now, the foreign minister Lavrov saying, this is delusional. The ideas that Zelensky is bringing forth, we're not going to go for them. So I'm hoping we can get Ben back up there on the air, but
we do have him. Yeah. Jill, we definitely want to get more analysis, but let's go to Ben because we do have him back up. And Ben, just describe to us what's happening there on the ground and, of course, the destruction, but also the psychological warfare that Jill Dougherty was mentioning during this holiday season heading into New Year's.
Yeah, well, this really, Amra, was expected that the Russians were going to strike at this time of year just before the New Year's, which, as Jill was saying, here is considered one of the biggest holidays of the year. Now, this morning at around 9 o'clock, we heard several loud explosions here in central Kyiv. And according to the mayor of Kyiv, there were 16 Russian missiles fired in the direction of the capital. All of them were intercepted. However, in the process of interception, debris fell to the ground, and we went to two separate locations where homes were severely damaged, if not destroyed. At one location, there were two men living in the house, one an elderly father and his adult son. Their house was basically, half of it was utterly destroyed. They escaped just with scratches, but the falling debris caused their car to explode and burn. At another location where we believe debris fell, there was widespread destruction. In one home, a 14-year-old girl was wounded, as well as her mother and a man nearby. But by and large, the capital did escape what could have been a far more serious attack because of the success of the air defenses, which did not unfortunately work everywhere. In the eastern city of Kharkiv, 2 people were killed. And in the western city of Lviv, which is far away normally from the danger of this war, 90% of the power has been knocked out. Amra?
All right, Ben Wiedemann, glad we got you back up there. Thank you so much, live for us there on the ground in Kyiv. Now back to you, Jill. I mean, last week in Washington, We heard from President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. He told Congress that its air defense systems were not really enough to deter attacks. So how loud do you think the calls for more Patriot batteries and other anti-aircraft defense systems will get now following this attack? And I'd imagine more are expected during this holiday season.
Well, obviously, Ukraine wants as much as it can get, because if this is a regular thing, which it already has become, they will need the defenses. They will need, especially to be able to protect from some of the drones that are used in these attacks as well. And also on this issue of when will this end? Could there ever be any type of peace agreement? President Zelensky did bring forward a plan with 10 points in it. And some of them are, Russians pulling out their troops, war crimes tribunals, reparations to Ukraine for the destruction that has been carried out by Russia, et cetera. And now today, and you can see the organized answer, the foreign minister, the spokesperson for the foreign ministry, both saying this is an illusion that this is going to happen. Russia will never go for it. And also blaming the United States. It's always, I think at this particular point, it's Ukraine that immediately becomes the United States. The United States supposedly is orchestrating all of this.
Also, Putin has been unusually quiet, right? I mean, he's been relatively out of public view. He didn't give his usual year-end press conference. And the war seems to be at least at a stalemate right now. What is Putin up to?
Well, today, the latest that I noticed is that he signed a law that would have life imprisonment for sabotage. So you're seeing more and more really serious laws coming on the books for what obviously is some type of reaction, people who are opposed to this, sabotage, criticism, et cetera. So I think he's toughening up the laws. And then also on a human basis, I've been watching, of course, the Russian media, and you can now see how back in Moscow and other cities of Russia, they're weaponizing Christmas and New Year's. And Ded Moroz, that, Santa Claus, is running around in an armored personnel carrier. You have the symbol, the Z that the Russians have, symbol for their, the war, but of course it's the special military operation, as President Putin calls it. And so there are these symbols that used to be, a peaceful child celebration for Christmas have really been weaponized, and it's all over the country.
And look, I know that you're quite in touch with what's happening in Moscow and what people are feeling. I know you also keep track of what's being broadcast on the news there. How do you feel like how the Russians are feeling regarding this drawn-out war right now?
It's so hard because there is a little bit of polling, but we've been saying this over and over again. In the circumstances of a war, it's very difficult to carry out any type of polling that makes sense, and especially in the time of severe repression for anybody who doesn't agree with the war. So that said, it appears, and this would be my impression, is that people are tired of it, want it to end, but they kind of give up and say, I can't change it. It's my country. Maybe let's continue. It's very sad.
Jill Dougherty, appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you so much.